kinabukasan, Gopalakas.
Magandang umaga sa inyo lahat. Taga-pakinig at those who's been following the show for many months now. And it's towards, 13 days before Christmas.
Wow! Countdown.
Countdown. So, again ulit, magandang umaga ho sa inyo lahat. At ngayon medyo maaliwalas ang aming panahon. Or, now, kumbaga we're feeling Christmas.
Yes.
It's a little crisp in the air.
Yes.
Medyo lumalamig.
Pero alam mo, hindi ang situation. So a lot of people medyo nadampen. Sinasabi nila ito COVID daw, parang nadadampen yung spirit ng Christmas. But that's why we are doing this show. Yung topic natin ay the gift of Christmas, just so that we can all talagang fully experience Christmas this year.
Yeah.
Despite the social distancing and our restrictions.
You know, introspecting and looking back in history, or even tracking what the time of Jesus 2,000 years ago, the type of conditions that people were going through. That's why they were so desirous of when is the Messiah coming? Di ba? Ganun ang kanilang mindset. Kasi because of there were a lot of political issues during those days.
Oppressed feeling,
Very poor. Tapos syempre, those places have always been faced with, if you read,
this is during the Roman Empire.
yung famines and hunger and a lot of abuses taking place, you know. And slavery was so much,
rampant.
that time, you know.
And even their environment, ang desyerto, hindi ba? It was also very difficult, no? Sabihin natin, maraming suffering.
Yeah, if you look at it, sometimes you see some of they depict the time of Jesus na how people are, kasi desert you know? Food. Scarcity palagi yung food sa kanila. Scarcity ang tubig. So living in desert-like conditions.
Kaya fishermen marami kasi yun sila kumukuha ng pagkain.
And they're faced with yung oppression kasi may Romans came to
Yeah,
to
at saka
control
that
them.
time nga that Jesus was born, kaya nagta-travel din si Mary and Joseph. They were going to pay taxes kasi So kahit hirap na hirap ang mga tao, tinatax pa sila ng malaki ng Roman Empire.
Yeah, they're really oppression.
So they had to travel to pay taxes, and when they came to that place, wala nang matuluyan dahil napakadami na magbabayad ng taxes.
So sabihin natin, hindi masyadong kaiba naman.
Right.
Yung
Fast
time
forward.
noon at saka time natin na there's
Time to pay
difficulties.
taxes also na rin, di ba?
Babayad din ng
Malapit
taxes.
na.
Okay, so
20.
difficulties, abound,
Year
you know?
2020. So
Ngayon-
that's like 2,000 years later,
2020.
2,020 years later on our side, we are basically, I mean, the whole idea is we cannot just talk on, okay, kung ganito pa rin ang face natin, what we are faced with. But basically, Jesus, when He came, He wasn't very, in a way, political. A lot of people thought He was political.
no way, yeah.
He was
But
going
he
to be a
wasn't.
political leader.
Right. They wanted him to be. Because they wanted him
They
to...
thought, that
because
gonna happen.
or they thought he was a threat to the rulers of those days.
Kaya nga si Herod, pinapatay niya yung ibang babies kasi alam niya yung dadating daw na magsisave sa mga tao. He thought he was going to be a political leader na itatanggalin sila sa
Right.
position, hindi
Yes.
ba?
Like he was a real threat from everyone, even amongst the religious leaders of those days.
Yeah.
May problema din ng church,
Right,
church noon,
during those
di ba?
days.
Oo.
You see, there was like, when the Romans were around and the religious leaders of those days, may connivance din sila eh. Dahil kumbaga they saw a common enemy in the position of Jesus, in the presence of Jesus.
There were actually many people are talking about a Messiah coming.
Yes.
But there were many who were showing up pretending to be the Messiah. So it was a time of confusion, really. And confusion nila na they're thinking in their mind, if this is gonna be the king of the Jews, then he must be a king like me. Isip ni Herod. Kaya,
Powerful, may political
feeling siya.
power, hindi ba?
Has
Iba yung
control of-
style ni Jesus.
Kasi yung time na yun,
dumating siya.
always who wins the hearts and minds even very today, who wins the hearts and minds of people, di ba? So everybody, every leadership is trying to play a role who will win the hearts and minds of people. So in those days there was a struggle, but here comes Jesus, and
As a little baby, they never thought that this was his God. This was God.
And he would-
But what did he come to do nga? Ano
No,
nga
no,
ba
like-
yung
like-
ginawa niya para ma-save yung mga tao from all this,
no,
you know?
his message was so simple, and his very life was a model. He wasn't at all, even, he didn't have anything against the Romans or anybody, even the Pharisees. Wala siyang He just had a different message for people.
Non-political siya at
Right.
that time.
Yeah, he was, even today, even that very time, until he left, he was non-political. He was never a politician of that kind. He was just, that's why he was like, the way he came around, and kasi hearts and minds nga eh, di ba? That was the concern. So, he was immediately, because of his message, the hearts and minds of people were being convinced by him. That's why until this very time, 2020 years later, reaction to what he did in his life and his teachings is still very much, playing in a lot of people's hearts and minds
Yeah, he
today.
came to tell us basically what our life should be like. Who we
Yes.
should be giving our lives to. Who we should be surrendering to. Not to an empire.
Yeah.
Not to an ordinary king.
Yeah.
But to our real Father. And
Oo.
He taught us where real happiness lies.
Nga, yung pinaka-gift niya talaga, di ba?
Yes.
That's why when we say the gift of Christmas, yung ano ba yung binigay na gift that we are receiving and we can receive up to this very day,
Even in our isolation and quarantine.
even
Yeah,
if
so
there is COVID.
So that's why it's so, like today, we have become a lot more, there are maybe, wala na yung slavery.
Meron actually. Yung people, what do you call that?
But there's
Human trafficking.
Human trafficking. There's
human
still
trafficking.
slavery.
Meron pa rin, pero
Oh,
it's not
underground.
like during those days. Kasi
The forms of slavery actually vary from time to time,
Yeah,
according to society, nagba-vary, but not as before, yung
Blatant.
naka-chains
Oo.
talaga yung mga tao.
forced to work, forced to, di ba?
Now it's underground.
All right.
So basically speaking, yung kahirapan po noon, makikita natin, meron din kasi ganoon man talaga sa material world eh. May hirap talaga, may mga sufferings. But Jesus Christ gave a solution to all of that. That if the sufferings are around us, we can have a solution that we can experience so much happiness, no? Parang nga minsan, tayo parang, pwede ba tayo maging masaya kahit may COVID, Yes, that's what Jesus is saying, di ba? Kaya nga po kami, itong radio show theme namin is our gift to share it so that people will become really, really happy this Christmas season. So you look at it, Jesus Christ had nothing to gain. He had nothing to gain from the people, but He came to give. So yun yung natin we have to trust that He came to give something that we can all be happy with. Yung happiness po nung regalo niya sa ating lahat. And basically, he's doing this out of love.
Yes,
Hindi
oo.
ba? Yun ang minsan nahirapan yung mga tao noon kasi from leaders, hindi nila ma-experience yung love ng mga leaders.
Actually, this
It's not
year,
only
I
that,
think
the growing sentiment of those days were the people were looking a way out of their suffering.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, today we are also suffering
yes, oo, we're suffering to and
in
I
many
think
ways,
the way
and
people
each of
are
us individual we have our own individual struggles in this world.
Right.
You know, so when you deal with that condition, the suffering of that time and the suffering of today, you can see that there's a lot of similarity.
Parallel situation.
But today, we think that we should be a lot more kumbaga, happier because we have conditions that are more comfortable. We have things, we're not experiencing the same oppression. But yet, we find, another cause of struggle.
Oo. Oo. Which is historically always present yata yung struggle, the inner struggles. But even in a democracy like America, they also have struggles, no?
I think today the people who are feeling happiness somehow are those who are following what Jesus actually taught. Said, whatever you do to your brethren, you do unto me. So those who are suffering now, there are people who actually help them in some way, right? Just like the people who are on the front lines, they're helping others, and even the ordinary tao who, just like before we mentioned, the mangtataho, who decided to give some taho to the others who are working. Those who are feeling great happiness these days, despite the pandemic, are those who are taking the time and the effort to share what they have,
Yes.
to ease the suffering in some way, of those that they are in contact with. You know, we have many people, like in the beginning of the epidemic pa noon, no? Pandemic, there was this child who had a 3D printer and he started to make facial shields, di ba? There are many stories of people who actually followed what Jesus taught to help others, and because of that, they feel this happiness. Yeah.
So, before we go on, we just like to take a time to greet the people who are joining us this morning again live, ating mga listeners from Bukidnon, from Madana Mohana, and from Thomas, and from Okinawa si Rosalinda, and then si Kalindi rin, bumabate, tsaka si Bo, and Priscilla, and Myra. Okay, so
Hello, Myra, my sister.
yes, so they're joining us today. Yes. So if you want to have questions or mga comments, please just put them in our chat, and we can share them with also our other listeners. Okay, so yung discussion natin, basically, ano yung binigay na turo ni Jesus? Ano ba yung niya to resolve our inner struggles, no?
You see, what he taught was still very much, it is not subjected by time and place. It is very universal. And he practiced what he preached.
Oo nga.
He showed, you see, the emptiness or the people then, and the same emptiness that we may be faced with today, or uncertainties. We may have all the different facilities or a better condition of living, right? But yet, we have those uncertainties in our own hearts. No? Parang, where's this heading? Where is this leading me? That's why we have still the social issues are very much in our society. And during then, iba lang framework yung kanilang struggles. But we've been given facilities to alleviate the type of struggles people had during those days. But yet, the unhappiness, the emptiness, or there are things like parang, it's insufficient, it's not enough. Or there's still a lot of quarreling taking place misunderstanding amongst nation, amongst people, even in the neighborhood, amongst family members. There's that constant struggle that we are, as individuals, are faced with.
Siguro na ano lang, nag-manifest lang. Nandun na talaga yung mga struggles na yun. But because people were so busy going here, going there, traveling and everything, na nung tumama yung COVID, you're faced with a situation. Ano ba yung hinahawakan nating security or ano ba yung pinanghahawakan nating happiness? Because sa totoo lang, yung binigay ni Jesus Christ ay kung talaga meron tayo ng happiness, hindi yun matatanggal ng COVID eh. Hindi yun
Yeah, it would be
hindi
deep-rooted.
ma-erase, hindi yun ma-erase.
Even if it can be COVID, it can be a natural disaster, or may binagyo tayo, or you lost your home, or binaha, or we got flooded. So the struggles are constantly there because this is the nature of the world we live in. Now, the message of Jesus was simply, look, this world is not our home.
Yeah. Seek ye the kingdom of God
Right.
first.
Yun na
And
ano
we
yan,
cannot
no?
try to find a home. It's a
Here.
temporary home. You try to look at it in all different angles, but yet it is simply when we try to live in this world and look at this world as our home, that's where our struggle is.
Yeah.
Yung struggle, hindi pala yung how to rebuild yung house na nasira nung bagyo. That is not the real struggle.
Yeah.
The real struggle is saan talaga yung home natin.
Where's our home? And when Jesus appeared, this is what he's saying. He's directing everybody. This world is not your home. If you try to solve little things, it's not gonna, it's gonna temporarily give you relief, but never, That's why his message and his teaching has to do with eternal life, not temporary life in this world.
Actually, may kwento dyan na when Jesus knew he was already going to leave and the apostles, the disciples niya, found out that he was going to leave, nag-iyakan sila. Tapos sabi niya sa kanila, why are you crying? Sabi niya ganon. Do not fear, sabi niya ganon. If you knew that I was going home to the Father, you would rejoice.
Yes.
You would be happy that I am going back to my Father. So, pinapakita niya that where He is going, yung inoffer niyang home sa ating lahat, is something for us to be welcoming or to be joyful about, na meron tayong talagang permanent home, hindi masisira, hindi mawawala, hindi nanakawin, hindi susunugin. And this home is, in the spiritual world with our Supreme Father.
And add to that,
Typhoon
di ba
proof
sinabi, the kingdom of
Walang
God,
baha.
di ba sabi, the kingdom of God is within you.
Oh, yun din.
Exactly.
Not only after death, but
Yes.
even now,
That's why you can
Even
be
now.
experiencing that.
you can be at home.
You may be, kumbaga, it's like, lotus plants. You've seen lotus flowers. Mga ganyan they rise above all the muck, but they come out so beautiful when they bloom. And there are those kind of people, like Jesus Christ was this way. The muck was thrown at him. It was done. You can
Everyone
imagine.
tried to pull him apart,
Right,
destroy his reputation.
2020 years later, we're still remembering it.
And
Yes.
glorifying,
And glorifying
him. That's the
And
beauty.
his life, kumbaga, because of, he spoke about eternal life. That was his
Real
main.
life. Yeah.
That's a real life. Then, that's why our remembrance of him doesn't have any limit or limited by time and place. This is what spiritual knowledge is about. Absolute knowledge is this way. Simply because hindi yan limited by time and place. The message is still the same. Not like things we learn in this world, may panapanahon na o tatapos na, nalilimutan na o nagbabago na. Things change constantly.
Oo.
But wisdom, knowledge, absolute knowledge, and the great saintly persons who comes around, or Jesus Christ, the devotee of God comes around, hindi nalalaos siya.
Yun, ang beautiful. Talagang ang ganda-ganda ng binigay niyang gift sa ating lahat, no?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I hope everybody remembers that, no? Kasi there are some people, di ba, pag Pasko, they get depressed. There's a lot of people who are depressed now during Christmas. Especially if they are alone nga, they're separate from their families. But if we remember this message of Jesus, then it's gonna, pull you out of
It's
Yes.
that.
uplifting.
Yes, from
This
of
is the
that
time actually that
depression.
we should all be in a mood of upliftment.
Oo.
We should stop
Yes,
worrying
yes.
about things on the ground that's happening to
worrying
us.
about
But we need to
ourselves.
go
Yeah.
internal and say, hey, we're so fortunate that we have something that we can really take shelter in. Right?
Yes.
That's the main thing. That's the main thing that we have to see, because this is an opportunity that we do have as human beings. We can understand what service means. And we can also understand how to serve.
Yes.
How that's applied. Pag sinabing service, or how is that applied? And when anyone who experiences or who are engaged in, they make their life as, they like to serve others, they like to do things for others, right? To make it so that other people kumbaga, help uplift their spirit in so many different ways.
Yeah.
People who do this, they have a different perception of many things in life,
Yeah.
because that service itself, especially service with love, kasi yun ang basehan ng serbisyo eh. May pagmamahal and caring.
Oo.
Yeah,
And-
think of the people who are less fortunate, who are maybe they're in the old age home, or the orphans, the poor,
Or even the rich people who have forgotten the gift of Jesus. Sabi nga ni Jagadguru once that the rich people can be also very unhappy, and they can also be very depressed,
they can be poor in spirit.
poor in
Yeah.
spirit. So reach out to everyone, no? And it's not a matter, mayaman yan, wala na
Masaya
tayong
na yan,
wala na
oo.
tayong mabibigay diyan, hindi na natin matutulungan yan.
Yeah.
No, actually, they may need it more than some of the people who are already poor materially but happy naman,
So,
Yeah,
again,
like when you do caroling, di ba?
Yeah.
There are people who are rich, but they might be alone. They're very lonely. And then when you sing the Christmas carols for them, it's really very uplifting,
Uplifting.
for them.
Yes. Yes.
So, this is the time that we should be, kumbaga, kasi sometimes like now, we in our country, we're trying to open up the economy.
Uh-huh.
Just so that means,
Christmas shopping.
right, so that there's economic activities taking place, and let people feel the same activity that they are so conditioned to doing every year. Diba? Mamimili sila ng ganito, ng mga parties together. We have been conditioned to be doing this at this time of the year.
Yeah, we must give a certain gift. Sometimes nga, meron pang presyo yung gift. Dapat, di ba?
May price
But-
range.
Oo, may
You know,
price
but
range pa yung
let's-
ibang
let's-
group. Sasabihin, dapat
Alam nyo,
ganito.
let's take this opportunity and not go through the same thing that we're so conditioned to.
Yes.
I don't want to even think of gifts. I don't want to even think of going out there for the time being. Simply because there's something that is so important that we have been missing out, and how Christmas should be celebrated.
Yes.
It's more of that. Now we all have this, we might not be able to fill up the churches. We might not be able to do certain things. Yung simbang gabi natin, simbang umaga na, or something like that. Hindi ba maaga na gagawin? But
Or from the TV lang,
let
di
us
ba?
let us not minimize such undertaking. But we should actually look and even enhance such activities in our own lives, and not just be dependent on, is the church going to open for this time? Is the church going to be so used and conditioned to certain activities, or we may say traditions or rituals that we are so used to? But no. Without those things, you can still have a relationship with God. You can still be
Yes.
pleasing to Jesus.
Jesus said, when you want to pray, you go in inner sanctum, inside yourself. You don't have to be out there, where people can see you. I'm here in the church, I go to church every day. But you can simply pray within your heart with all sincerity. Yeah.
So we can experience that gift of Christmas within our hearts because God nga is within our hearts. You
Right.
know, that glorification of God, that worship of God. And if you do this, if your vision expands na hindi lang pala hanggang simbahan ang pagsamba, but even wherever I am, then you can be worshiping every time, every
And,
minute,
you know,
Nobody can
everywhere.
one should understand that if you understand that you try to embrace the true meaning of the life of Jesus when He appeared, it is for the glory of God. Wala nang iba pa. He came to glorify the Father. And He wanted, by His example, that we do the same thing.
Follow Him.
To follow that way of life, that make it so that our life and the life purpose is to serve and to glorify the Father.
Yes.
And in this way, whatever happiness or whatever, you don't even think about it. You don't even think about the happiness na, like now in this world we live in, everything is measured. You know, everything is being measured. But this is not spiritual happiness. And spiritual happiness is an individual experience. Right? It's not dependent on a group or whatever actions you need to put together. It is the relationship between the child of God, that's us, and God Himself. And it's a personal thing. And during this time, we should not veer away. We should not kind of put ourselves again trying to get back to what it was normal, what I'm so used to. But yet, on the end of the day, after Christmas and the New Year comes, we have to start all over again. We're faced with so many things. Now, you have to understand, when there is a different setting or a setup, what do we do? What should we do? If one is engaged or is living his life for the glory of God, nothing changes in his life because his purpose is the same. The foundation of his existence is based on service to God. And
Despite whatever changes in situation.
yeah, that's why during Christmas time, if there are things that are changing right now na hindi natin magawa yung nakasanayan natin, fine. Let's not make a big deal about it. Let's not
forget the essence of Christmas. Let's not forget Christmas is about Christ.
Let's not try to make pilit yung dating nangyayari. Kasi kagaya ngayon, yung isang kamag-anak nagpumilit, pumunta pa ng Divisoria para mamili. Eh, syempre, nakakatakot, no? Sabi ko, naku, nakakatakot naman yung mga ganyang situations. Maybe feeling that we have an obligation to be able to give gifts on Christmas, pupunta ng Divisoria,
But we should
mamimili.
all be understanding on this situation because real caring means I don't want you to get sick.
Right.
You know?
Yesterday, nagkaroon nga ng aksidente sa Divisoria.
Oo, yung kotse. Oo,
Anyway,
bangga.
Daming tao.
Point is,
I mean, the point is you go there, you put yourself in danger, not just for COVID, pati mga ganoon
So,
aksidente.
tama yung na maintindihan natin talaga, yung caring. Yung sinasabi nga, you have to
you need-
understand
The
caring.
essence
when you
of
live your life
Christmas.
always in connection and in prayer, that is your life. Every day of your life, you have that solitude, you have the time to be meditating, you have that period in your life every day that you make that strong connection, you make that connection and cultivation of your love for God. Kumbaga, it improves on every day of your life. You know, basically all of being taught by all scripture, by the Bible, basically you will find that there is no, your attraction to this world is less.
Oo.
You just go by,
No
okay,
worries.
what I need to do, I have to do with my business. If I'm a family man, I have to be responsible for my family, right? I have to be responsible. I have to take care of them. But yet, since you are seeking that shelter that goes deeper in your heart, it is following the great saintly person like Jesus and the way he lived his life. Make that our way of life. We follow what he taught. And basically, even our family will understand. We'll be a part of that following. We'll be a part of that experience of being God-centered. So during times of, like I'm saying, life in this world, there are so many different things that you go through, but yet, saying all things must pass. Dumadaan-daan lang.
Even COVID, makakaraos din
Oh,
tayo.
but nice if we discover the real peace inside within. So even nag-iisa po tayo, sinasabi nga na even if we are alone, we are not really alone because God is within our heart. So there is that presence that we can feel happiness with, that we are with God. And that, remember, Jesus Christ also spent 40 days in the desert praying. No? And that is not an experience of loneliness and parang, kumbaga sabihin mo, ang haba nung quarantine na yun, tagal niyang nawala, no? Pero he was so immersed and he was very peaceful, he was very satisfied.
You know, maybe there are times when we think like now, oh, I need to buy gifts for my relatives. You know what's best? Maybe if we have savings or we have extras to spend, important is perhaps we can use this opportunity to actually give to those who needs help. Diba?
Yes. Oo. So basically, itong time na ito actually can even be one of our happiest Christmas ever, you know, because we will be tempted. We are in a situation we all have to face our inner condition, and we are left without all the trimmings, and we are encouraged to actually seek that real happiness. And basically, ano naman to, magandang, sabihin natin parang retreat, magandang retreat time for all of us, a time of spirituality and not being distracted by going out to different malls and going to different parties, no, na sobrang daming kainan and everything. And basically, we have to see the essence of Christmas, no. Tapos sana mabawasan rin yung traffic, hindi rin yung mga tao lang dahil kasi kailangan nilang mag-shopping, no. Yun ang sabi, one of the messages of Jesus Christ, don't put your mind on those things, hindi on earthly things, hindi ba? Kaya one of the most earthly things siguro is yung happening sa pamimili ng mga ganyang bagay. So ngayon, ang question paano naman natin, ano naman ang maibibigay nating form of concern or form of love to others, hindi ba? Na pwede nating ipakita sa ibang tao. Actually, kung isipin natin, Jesus Christ didn't give anything in a box, no? He didn't buy anything from a shop to give to people. Pero makita po natin that yung wisdom and yung teachings niya are in itself very perfect.
It is actually his teaching and the way he lived. Ito yung matchless gift that we have. Nothing would ever match this gift.
So, kasi minsan yung na-encourage yung mga ibang tao, kailangan, bilhin natin yung mga bata ng maraming regalo para maging maligay sila, maraming toy, maraming, kailangan, meron pang mga tradition, kailangan bago ang damit, kailangan bago yung sapatos, and everything. Sa ngayon po, yun yung mga earthly things siguro
You know,
na
when
baka...
Jesus appeared in this, he appeared in the most humble settings. Not standards of St. Luke Hospital or something, you know, malaga naman yung standards niya. Na you're surrounded by all trappings that, you know, my life is much better. But yet you will find being born in a manger.
You know, when
so
you
humbling.
think of Christmases
Yeah,
past,
humble,
what do you
Yeah.
remember really?
Oo.
Yeah. I don't remember, personally, I don't remember what I was wearing or
Diba,
what
the
the
Belens
gifts were. or
is something,
what-
when you have a Belen, you know, it's so simple. Now, I'm not sure whether there's a whole new generation, they probably don't know what a Belen looks like. Or what is a Belen, what happens. It's a farm shed, basically, where the animals are, you know, doon sila hinahouse from the elements. You know, when you think about it, wow. You know, walang, there's no nurse, there's no midwife,
There's no lights,
there's
no...
nothing. It's just the stars, you know? And yet, the signs that he appeared, the stars, you know,
Cosmic.
show that, wow, there is somebody special being born at the moment. Diba?
it was a very auspicious, very momentous event na even the angels, even, denizens from the heavens really appeared there too. Hindi nakita ng mga tao, pero they were rejoicing. They were rejoicing. And you look at that, can anything be more simple than a shed? Hindi ba? Than that manger. Can anything be more simple than that?
And yet it was holy.
It was
Yeah,
holy.
it was a silent night
Oo.
where
And after this
great
very
things
day,
were happening.
after this very day, that place is being contested by
Three religions.
Three religion.
Fighting
Kasi
over
ganun
the place.
ka-special yung lugar. That's how special the place is. You know, and anybody who goes there, yung purifying impact. These are pilgrimage places. That's why we go to these places. But yet, at this point, we should not forget that, again, back to the very essence of what he was teaching.
Yes.
You know, we love the Father with all our hearts and minds. And then with that comes, we need to care for one another. It's a world that we should actually embrace and put ourselves in all the time and not forget. You know, the humbleness, the simplicity, it is a way of life that we should embrace. Even people who may have been given wealth, influence, leadership, people who are, people look up to them. When you are in such situation, you can still remain a humble person when you recognize the fact that everything that you have been given is a gift. Right?
Yes.
And that you are not the controller, but God is the controller. You are not the owner of anything in this world, but God is the owner. And that everything that's given to us is a facility. It becomes an opportunity that we can actually use to offer it back to God and make that opportunity that you're given to reach out on others and help others. Try to make God the center of your life. And this would be the way to live. And this is what Jesus was teaching. And if we apply that in our life, we won't feel anything that nagkukulang. There's always that.
Umaapaw pa nga.
Right.
Mafe-feel mo, umaapaw.
And again, there are many commandments. Diba? Sampo, if you try to follow most of them, then basically you are pleasing to God. We should not forget that.
Yes.
Diba? Ang dami niyan eh. And then there are people who are still, again, being oppressed or taking advantage of. If you are a leader, violence will not be a solution. Right? There's always this condition that we are always bombarded with. If you watch the news, it's sad. It's all sadness. But you know what? At the end of the day, there's always the good news that we should not forget. You know, the gift of life of service and uplifting of others is the key.
Yes.
We uplift their consciousness. It is the consciousness.
And
It's
their
not
spirits.
something that we provide for something that is material and that's it. No. It is, we go deeper here. Right? Right? The gift of love and love for God. Let us uplift others by reminding each other, helping each other remember. This is the key. It is the remembrance of the great saintly persons or Jesus Christ. Let's remember his life for its true purpose. Let's not just put him in a place somewhere or an altar in your home. Let us apply what he has taught us. And we will see everything around us as an opportunity to service. Our life becomes an opportunity to serve others.
Kumbaga yung sinasabi natin lifestyle na yun is Jesus-like. Jesus-like and God-centered lifestyle.
Yes,
Hindi
he
ba?
lived his life simply,
Oo.
but he endlessly helped others.
Yes.
With no desire for anything in return. Simply wanting to see them happy.
Yes. Maganda po ng ating Christmas, no? Kasi tayo ay nabibigyan ng pagkakataon, a chance to actually see what Christmas is all about, what Jesus came to give us. And kung makita natin yung tunay na tunay tayo magiging maligaya sa buhay natin. No? So,
Yeah, if we follow Jesus, every day can be Christmas.
oh yes. Yes,
We can
in fact, that's
always
what
do
he
that
wants.
way.
You know, that's what he wants, and that's what's also gonna make him happy. So also making Jesus happy by, reciprocating, doing what he asked to do. Then every day,
Sharing that gift He gave to us.
every day of our life, we'll be really, really happy. So, meron tayo lang babatiin ng mga kasama natin sa chat na talagang bumabati po sa ating lahat, sa inyo. Si Angel Gonzalo, sabi niya, love listening. Good morning. Si Tara Gallardo, Lorene Natividad, Fabi, Ananda Teves Ngo, and Mary Salazar. O from si Ananda from Zambales, Mary Salazar from Baguio. No?
Ruben Lonto,
Ruben
all the way
Lunto,
from the US.
From the
California.
US. O yan, si Muriel, meron comment din siyang nilagay dyan.
Jesus taught us
The greatest
that
gift.
the greatest gift to others is the gift of life in service, uplifting others.
Yan.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay. So basically, yan talaga ang magandang message niya. Ang daming actually parang each teaching is a message, each message is a gift. No? Kumbaga, kung iisipin natin, priceless pearls or diamonds yung binibigay ni Jesus Christ na bawat turo niya, bawat yung sinasabi niya talagang marerelish mo.
And anything that you do in connection, Jesus is taught, is also eternal. It has an eternal effect on a person's life. Kumbaga, there's no limitations to it because it has to do with your eternal condition
Yes.
in your position.
Oo.
So spiritual life is this way. It continues. It is enduring. It's not limited by time and place. Just as we are spirit, we're a child of God, each of us. We're eternal in nature. But when we forget, or we turn the other way, and not see the truth, then that's when we feel this disconnection.
Yeah,
The beauty of Jesus' appearance was He showed us this is how you work your connection. This is how you get connected back to your Father. This is how you live your life. So your connection to the Father is being experienced even in this world, in the life that you live in.
Aba, sinasabi mo yung connection. Alam mo sa Pilipinas, mahilig na, uy, may connection ako kay senator, o may connection ako kay mayor.
But
Yan,
anyway.
very precious. Pero imagine having the connection to the supreme person. Aba,
That's the
napakamalakas na connection
To
yun.
everybody, we want to thank everybody again for
And meron din pang
listening
mga
in.
bumabate.
Yes, Cynthia of Merga, thank you
Oo,
from
si
all the way
Yogi
from Lukban.
And Yogi Padilla.
Yeah.
No?
So
Yogi.
again, we wanna thank everybody. I hope if you have any questions you want to ask, please send in,
Yeah.
to our Facebook.
This Christmas, I hope everyone follows the teachings of Jesus. Let's be real followers of Jesus.
Yes, I hope we are able to share with you some insights, and we just want to be sharing in this time, and we should always be wanting to share, especially the glories of the devotee of God to everybody. And this should be our life,
Yes.
and this is the way we should live our life, to be always thankful. On the end of the day, no
And
matter...
grateful to Jesus Christ who came, appreciate His coming. We can pray, pasalamat po tayo sa Kanya dahil ang bait niya, binigyan tayo ng mga treasure na talagang pwede nating i-keep forever.
Okay, maraming salamat po sa inyong lahat. Thank you so much.
Thank you. See you next time, next Saturday.
Next Saturday,
Oo.
Okay, malapit na. 13 days to go to Christmas. So let's have a different setting at home.
Let's
Let us-
celebrate Christmas the right way,
Yeah,
the real way.
You don't have to turn your house into a manger, but
Baka meron ng mga baka at saka mga straw.
right. But there are things, you look at it and maybe they don't know what it is. So make your family feel, oh, this is how Jesus was born in this place, and this is what was going on.
Yes.
Diba?
Yeah.
So, kasi many people are from the urban centers, so they don't know what farm life is anymore. Okay, thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you.
Hello.
Be safe, be
Bye-bye.
careful. Don't insist on going out, okay?
Yes.
Just be in prayer all the time and engage in meditation and reading the Bible.
Yes.
Anything that would your spirit and the spirit of others.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Pangkalusugan, pangkalikasan, Gopalakas.